It's so funny that it hasn't even been a day since I came out with that last video on PBC, and I'm at work and I'm like seeing the news on YouTube about them being dropped and Showtime's pretty much done. Um, Guys, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. You can't. There comes a line where fake it till you make it. It may have been a cool trend for its time, but it just does not work. You can't sit here and claim that a guy's a star because you have to fake 200,000 pay-per-view buys that they sold. You know what I'm saying? While you're paying these guys ridiculous sums of money. This even includes Canelo, so you Canelo fans, you're not off the hook either. Um, they tried to put their eggs in the basket on Canelo, and I'm pretty sure they didn't make a profit in that fight. I don't think so. Um, we told you how PBC is ran like an effeminate system, and we've even gone as far as calling them a cult, like literally and figuratively. Al Haymon, he's a cult leader. That's all he is. He's a two-bit con man. We told you this from the beginning, guys. This guy will sell his brother out to make a buck. You understand? And I'm over here hearing rumors that Floyd still hasn't got paid from certain fights. Again, we always hear about these stipends and things like that. Al Haymon is nothing but Bernie Madoff, guys. This guy, when he cons a person out of their money, his whole game plan is to get somebody else to spend their money to where he doesn't have to. You understand? He just pulls Bernie Madoff all the time. And he'll scam a new person, and it's just to cover another con that he's finally, getting exposed on. I really don't know what to tell you guys. This new boxing has been bizarre to watch. And the world in general, I've never seen anything like this since I've been alive. And boxing is a part of that. Again, lying about pay-per-view buys, and your lie is nothing to brag about. You know what I'm saying? You guys got to start thinking, you PBC fans and you Al Haymon acolytes. You need to start maybe asking yourself, what is real in this world? You know what I'm saying? You guys fell for the Deontay Wilders. You guys fell for Errol Spence's. You came out with excuses that these guys were drugged, that, people patted their gloves against them. Look at these pictures of how weird these guys' gloves are folding. You guys swear up and down that Al Haymon is basically this mythological Frank Lucas character in boxing when he's yet to even produce even an Anthony Joshua. You guys can hate. Well, now you guys are going to be DAZN fans now because PBC is supposedly going to either Amazon, DAZN, or both. It might be similar to how they were messing with Showtime, which is CBS, and Fox at the same time. They were usually giving Fox their best fights while they were kind of throwing Showtime the scraps, yet still trying to put these garbage fights on pay-per-view. But at this point in time, we've been saying this forever, guys. You guys will believe anything today. And people, I guess, believe that, money will just magically appear even when it's not there. Al Haymon doesn't even believe this, guys. Al Haymon's willing to do some pretty crazy stuff for $1. You understand? If he needs to tell his fighter to promote mental illness or, go hang out with these rappers and try to act like you're from the streets, or, hey, Wilder, how about you say that you want to be pregnant? You know what I'm saying? It's no shock to me, guys. It's really not. This company has done nothing but push a crappy product for years. They tried to always subvert the fan base and the public into thinking that the fights they were providing were actually really good fights when they weren't. People give their moral support here on the internet, but as we come to find out, you guys aren't really buying these fights. You're streaming just like majority of us. I don't dare pay $80 for a fight that I don't get to keep, and I've complained about this before. If I get to pay $80, at the very least, can I at least get a copy of the fight? You know what I'm saying? DVDs and stuff don't cost that much, guys, And, I can actually go back and view that, and if I want to use it for my channel, I don't want to get copyright struck by some company that's just being greedy and not doing nothing for the sport, when even I'm here in a way kind of helping to promote your product and everything else. But there's so much to complain about when it comes to this situation. But the sad thing is that there's too many Al Haymons in this world. These scam artists, these fake it till you make it clowns. At least Al Haymon doesn't go out in the public like a lot of these people today. But we'll use Kathleen Kennedy and Star Wars, for example. You come out with a crappy product, you go against the fan base, and you instead try to subvert them and subvert their expectations, and you tell your fan base that they're the problem. You understand, and you think that's going to work out for you, and you wonder why you're a traveling grift that's been through so many networks. Spike, ESPN, HBO, guys, I can't even list all of the platforms and networks that PBC has gone through, NBC, I mean, you name it, guys. And, I'm pretty sure they're going to get bailed out because someone will find somewhat kind of value. And I'm sure Al Haymon's going to promise them the stars and the moon. You know what I'm saying? Like he's done with everyone else. I knew he was finally starting to make these fights that the public wanted, because it's a parasitic company. A parasite needs something for it to live off of, He needs something to latch onto because he can't create his own success. He can't do that. All he can do is leech off other people. And even you fans, he gets you guys to try to front his bill. He promises these fighters, again, the moon and the stars, as I'm sure these guys think that they're worth $10 million a fight, like guys like Keith Thurman who don't even fight anymore. Even guys like Caleb Plant that haven't done nothing, and you're here telling Canelo like what you need to be paid and everything else. And what's crazy is a lot of people, they'll give Floyd Mayweather a lot of crap, but I mean, Floyd Mayweather earned his position, guys. He did crazy things like go out and go on Dancing with the Stars or go on the WWE. He was the guy that pitched the 24/7 I Did to HBO, and that was another way on how they could actually promote the fight and things like that. A lot of people didn't find the fights entertaining, but Floyd did sell that fight. He did the heavy lifting for whoever he was involved with. Another thing you guys need to understand is Floyd never used the Al Haymon game plan. You understand? Typically, Floyd Mayweather worked with other promoters, and that's really one of the problems that PBC did. They made boxing too exclusive and too inaccessible to the masses. I'll give you an example. Oscar De La Hoya, when he fought Steve Forbes at 154 pounds, to help promote his fights while he's getting himself prepared to move back down to 147 for an even bigger payday, he was still able to garner 6 million views on HBO, which is a premium cable channel. And these guys on network television with, big pushes from like coming off an NFL game or a college football game, they still can't come close to that. They try to tell you that 2 million views is great, and then you look at past viewership and past fights, you're talking about fights that could easily get about 10 million viewership. And, some fights the whole world is watching and listening to and wanting to be a part of these fights when you do even more research. And again, all PBC has done, and these acolyte, zealot, cult member fans have done, is try to subvert everybody else, but in turn have subverted themselves when it's come to reality. And again, you're trying to subvert mediocrity for greatness. Like, these guys aren't even selling what they're reporting, 200,000 pay-per-view buys. These guys are selling, around like 100,000. I know that Danny Garcia and the Spence fight only sold like 180,000, but they're so busy with PR and everything else to always push these false narratives. And we see other companies do this as well. They don't want to admit that they're losing money. Some companies, they can't avoid expressing this, like a Bud Light, This is what happens when you try to brainwash people instead of just making a good product that your customers want. And we're at this is just a broken record with PBC. Again, when you look at the list of all the networks that they've been with, this is no surprise or shock whatsoever. Al Haymon's like that mistress that, moves into like rich men's lives and then destroys their life and takes their money, then moves on to the next. He's a parasite. Again, that's all he is. He provides a parasitic product. You know, I just don't understand the world and boxing fans today. Even when we were like showing you guys film of these fighters, like, hey, this guy is not really what you guys think. You know, I was over here getting bombarded by clowns, you know, who wouldn't even take the time to watch the video because their emotions were shook, but they have the nerve to sit here and write books and short stories to me about how I'm wrong and all this other stuff. The bottom line is this: boxing, much like prostitution, it's a old business and it does not need to redefine and come to crazy new means for it to be successful. Dana White started off as a boxing promoter, for example, and what he typically does is he provides the best fighting the best, but on top of that, guys like Don King and a lot of other people, even Oscar De La Hoya back in the day, they would give you a product that's good from head to toe. So you're being entertained the whole time while you get to the main event, and it made for legendary nights, and it made for more consistent, successful business. The figures also made more sense as well. Today, it's always who can I scam, who can I trick bag into making myself money, and you're more centered on yourself than the very thing that you're trying to be successful on, which is the sport of boxing. You know, Al Haymon, he sits here, he charges you around $80 for mediocre fights. The undercards are terrible. I don't even care to watch the undercards, you know, and I stream the majority of these fights. I don't have a problem admitting that because I know the product that I'm receiving is utter trash. And I know the fighters that you're trying to sell to me are not what you're trying to advertise them as. You know, I'm not impressed with these guys that speak good in front of a camera like Keith Thurman, who to me is like a C-plus fighter. I know Keith Thurman couldn't beat a Fernando Vargas, and that was a guy who was at the bottom of the totem pole in that era of boxing. But that guy is like head and shoulders far better than these dudes out here today. You don't produce Winky Wrights. When it comes to stars, again, you haven't even done what Eddie Hearn's done with Anthony Joshua, and I'm supposed to sit here and praise you as if, you know, you're this great advisor / whatever label people want to give you. You're just a selfish two-bit comment like we've been telling you. The results speak for themselves. The make-believe needs to stop, and the make-believe is not adding to nothing. It's actually subtracting. And again, you can't make money just appear out of nowhere, guys. And again, all you have to do is merely look at the results. But just like prostitution, boxing does not require any kind of new radical thinking and equation to make it a success. You know, there comes a point where you're trying to just, you know, 1 + 1 = 2, but I'm trying to do this crazy maneuver that doesn't even get me profit. You know, so now my 1 minus 3,000 plus 200 times this equals that. You know, I'm going to give you an example here. Instead of giving the public what they want, you know, Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford, you're over here spending money just to prop up make-believe than you would have gotten if you just would have made the fight that would have made money. You're over here, while you have Errol Spence signed to fight Manny Pacquiao, who was the champion in recess, you have to spend more excess money to get, you know, the WBA not to make Manny the champ, which he should have been since he was signed to Errol Spence. But you got to spend extra money to email this belt to Ugas, and you even got to spend even more money, you understand, to pay guys like Stanionis and whoever step aside money, guys who have earned their shot and also have deals with these sanctioning bodies. This whole thing has become a cluster mess, you understand, when all you needed to do was just make this one fight and just, you know, cut your losses or whatever else, you know. And with all that going on, you also produce these fighters. They're always injured. they're inactive, they have bad habits, they drink, they smoke, and they're into weird beliefs and all this other stuff. You know, Keith Thurman and Errol Spence are so similar. You know, they're both these weirdos that have like these weird belief systems where they merge all this stuff together. But on top of that, they're both injury prone. And even when you set them up for success and they don't even have to earn their way to this success, they still find ways to screw it up. You know, Errol Spence out here getting in car wrecks. You know, Keith Thurman did make it to his Manny Pacquiao fight, but again, what has Keith Thurman really done to you while while he's running his mouth on the internet? It's really not been nothing. It's a nice little views, at the time, but it's not nothing to sustain you with. You're just Wile E. Coyote, man, and this stuff always blows up in your own face. And here you are out on the road again, and you got to find a new place to destroy. That follows the path of another thing. It's that, that's how demons are, but that's neither here nor there. But this guy, he just goes to new places and all he does is help destroy these places to where they're like, okay, just get out of here, man. We don't want nothing to do with you no more. But again, if Amazon and if DAZN want to go down that route, they're in desperate situation too. Not so much Amazon, but DAZN, there's someone who's going to bail this guy out and still give life to this crawling, sprawled out corpse that needed to die a long time ago. As long as Al Haymon is at the helm, I don't see what else he can produce. What, you're going to give me Deontay Wilder versus Eddie Ruiz? You're going to give me Caleb Plant versus a depressed Jamal Charlo? You know what I'm saying? I don't see what he can do. All the fighters that you were having somewhat success with, they're done. Sean Porter's, the Danny Garcias, they do nothing for nobody. Keith Thurman, go ahead, bring him back out, let him talk in front of a camera and try to sell people on some BS. Majority of us are still going to stream that. So I think these guys need to think long and hard about their next move and what they need to do to maybe possibly get different results. This Bernie Madoff trick bag scheming that Al Haymon does, it's never served him. And it doesn't serve his fighters either. You know what I'm saying? These guys, again, they're praised as being great businessmen and all this crap. Again, mediocrity is now greatness today in today's world. But again, you've yet to even produce Anthony Joshua. Deontay Wilder doesn't come close to what Anthony Joshua has done and garnered. You know what I'm saying? You rank below even Eddie Hearn, who, again, has had actual more success, especially in terms of garnering money, than the PBC. UFC with their B-listers and C-listers have produced far better results than what PBC and boxing in general have been able to produce. And again, it's not this crazy formula or redefining the game. It's always been the same game, guys. It's pretty simple. Like I said, you don't have to reinvent the wheel on this stuff. But just make the best, fight the best. Some guys are going to get exposed along the way. Some, it's going to produce some real top-notch fighters who understand what it takes to actually be a true champion. Guys like Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, and even Errol Spence, they're all propped it up. And I'm sorry, guys, your Canelo is a propped-up fighter too. YouTubers have been able to infiltrate the sport because boxing isn't real anymore. So if we're going to promote a fake product, why not go with fake fighters who do this part-time? When in all actuality, it's really not much different from guys like Keith Thurman and Errol Spence and a lot of these fighters today, guys. And some of these guys like Jake Paul are more dedicated than a lot of these fighters that are considered top fighters. And they do the same formula and the same things that guys like Canelo, Spence, Tank Davis have needed to stay afloat in this sport. We used Meme Machine in the past. I would have loved to see Meme Machine actually get the opportunities that only guys like Sean Porter and Danny Garcia were consistently hogging, while they were playing bricklayer to prop up other fighters that Al Haymon wanted to prop up next. I would have loved to see a Meme Machine even against a Errol Spence, you know what I'm saying? I would have loved to see him versus the Sean Porters of the world. But guys like that are getting axed out. Stanionis as well. just so that we can prop up certain guys in the sport. And all it's done is just, you know, all it's led to is boxing just continuing to shoot itself in the foot and thinking it can still walk, even while it's crawling. You know, it's this wounded animal right now. And again, before these companies like Amazon or even DAZN, you know, make their next move, don't do it out of desperation. Really come down with a game plan that's really going to promote the sport, you know, and build it back up, or at least get it to the point where it can walk again. Because right now it's just a dead crawl. Right now it's an animal looking for a bush to crawl under and die. That's all we really got to say about it right now. But you know, people, they'll still ride or die with Al Haymon and this inferior product that he's always tried to push, and these fake stars that he's always tried to get people to believe in. And again, I'll be the conspiracy theorist website, and I'll be the crazy person, but that's all right. I really don't care about popularity contests and needing to please others anymore. And it's even more prevalent today because all I see is just insanity being promoted every day. We will talk to you guys later. And, you know, what's there to really talk about boxing? What am I really going to comment on when it comes to the sport of boxing? Maybe when these fighters start getting more serious even about their own careers, really trying to promote the sport and really build the sport back up. You know, I say this multiple videos in a row. I would love to talk about boxing. Boxing was like my first love. I loved it more than basketball and football when I was a kid. I used to watch it with my father. You know, boxing has a lot of work to do. That's all I really got to say. We will talk to you guys later. Bye.